Last year, my rent jumped 15% without explanation. When I asked why, my property manager mentioned market rate adjustments from their software, a response that launched me into investigating the hidden technology controlling housing costs across America. What I discovered was shocking. A sophisticated network of AI-powered pricing tools enabling landlords to coordinate increases across entire markets. While you struggle with rising rents, these algorithms quietly reshape what you pay. San Francisco and San Diego have already banned these tools after recognizing their role in housing affordability distortion, yet most cities remain unaware. The secret network behind your skyrocketing payments runs deeper than most realize. Imagine opening an email to find your rent has suddenly jumped by 30%. That's exactly what happened to Jay, a 28-year-old grad student working 2 part-time jobs to afford his modest 1-bedroom apartment. For 6 years, he'd been a model tenant, paying on time, reporting maintenance issues promptly, even organizing building-wide recycling initiatives. Then, without warning, his $1,450 rent ballooned to nearly $1,900 with zero improvements to justify the increase. "I thought there must be some mistake," Jay tells me, tapping anxiously at his budget spreadsheet. "There's no way to make this work unless I get a 3rd job or move." When he called his landlord to negotiate, the response was chilling. "It's not us. It's what the system recommends." That moment marked Jay's introduction to the invisible force reshaping rental markets nationwide. He wasn't negotiating with a human who might recognize his worth as a reliable tenant. He was up against an algorithm that reduced his housing situation to data points and revenue optimization. "Something felt off about that explanation," Jay says, dark circles under his eyes from sleepless nights, worrying about his future. So I started asking around. What began as personal frustration evolved into an improvised investigation, connecting his individual struggle to a much larger pattern. Jay created a spreadsheet tracking rent increases across his city, collecting information from friends, classmates, and coworkers. The results were chilling. 3 separate apartment complexes in Jay's neighborhood, each owned by different investment groups, all raised their 2-bedroom unit prices by exactly 8.7% on the same day. The mathematical precision and synchronized timing revealed a system working in eerie concert. The breakthrough in Jay's investigation came when he connected with Alan Pickens, another renter caught in the same digital web in San Diego. "The rent goes up, it gets unaffordable, so we look for a new place to stay," Alan explained, describing how renters move from one building to another like mice trapped in an algorithmic maze. But every escape route leads to another building using the exact same pricing software. Jay's research eventually revealed that 44% of multifamily housing units across America now use algorithmic pricing systems. These aren't just digital spreadsheets. They're sophisticated AI platforms that pool competitor data, analyze market conditions, and recommend synchronized price movements across entire regions. These AI platforms have transformed rental pricing into a hidden network of digital collusion. By routing proprietary data through sophisticated software, landlords now coordinate pricing strategies that would be illegal if discussed directly, creating an algorithmic marketplace that circumvents traditional competition. The system doesn't just passively observe market conditions, it actively shapes them. When one property raises rates through the algorithm's recommendation, it triggers a cascading effect across other properties using the same software. This creates an artificial market rate that wouldn't exist if landlords were truly competing against each other. For Jay, the most disturbing realization was how these software platforms transformed housing, a basic human need, into a purely mathematical revenue optimization problem. His 6 years of on-time payments, building contributions, and community involvement meant nothing to the algorithm. The system wasn't programmed to value stability, community, or human relationships, only maximizing profit from each unit. Those market conditions are a sophisticated data-sharing network where landlords compare rental prices, creating what the Department of Justice calls a digital cartel that transforms pricing tools into a technological ecosystem of coordinated rent increases. Understanding how these algorithms actually work explains why your rent keeps climbing, despite your building having empty units. It's a system designed to benefit landlords at your expense. When RealPage introduced systems like YieldStar and AI revenue management, they marketed them as innovative solutions for optimizing rental prices. The pitch was straightforward. Replace gut feelings about pricing with data-driven insights to maximize revenue. Property managers gained scientific justification for their pricing decisions, removing emotional considerations when setting rents. These algorithms function like a digital meeting room, allowing competitors to share sensitive pricing secrets without direct communication. Landlords upload proprietary data, rental applications, lease terms, and occupancy projections that would be illegal to exchange directly, creating a technological loophole for market coordination. The algorithm pools this data from multiple landlords in a given area, creating a centralized hub where competitors' pricing strategies are analyzed and transformed into recommendations. It's like all the property managers in your city gathering around a table to coordinate pricing strategy, but with software serving as the intermediary and plausible deniability built in. When property managers check their RealPage dashboard, they see cleanly designed interface elements showing recommended price increases with market-driven justifications. The system might suggest raising a 2-bedroom unit by 8.7%, citing strong demand in your submarket. What remains hidden is that this recommendation comes from analyzing competitors' internal data, and that competitors receive similar guidance. The interface eliminates hesitation about implementing these increases. Former industry insiders revealed that the platform ensures landlords are driving every possible opportunity to increase prices. A direct quote from the Department of Justice's antitrust lawsuit, highlighting how seriously regulators view these practices. The system's genius is how it distances human decision-makers from responsibility. When tenants question dramatic rent increases, property managers can simply state, "It's what the system recommends." Tenant loyalty and personal circumstances are replaced by algorithmic certainty. In markets heavily utilizing RealPage's systems like San Diego and San Francisco, rental prices have increased dramatically, with the DOJ specifically noting these practices have kept prices artificially high. The Biden administration's Council of Economic Advisors estimated algorithmic pricing has raised costs for renters by an average of $70 monthly nationwide. These algorithms have weaponized the concept of market rate, creating a digital price floor that defies traditional economic logic. By systematically preventing genuine price competition, the software ensures rents only move in one direction, upward, regardless of actual market demand or economic conditions. What makes this particularly concerning is how the system obscures responsibility. No single landlord is explicitly agreeing to fix prices with competitors. They're just following market-based recommendations from their software provider. But as both the FTC and DOJ have emphasized, using algorithms to set prices doesn't provide any exemption from antitrust laws. When you receive that dreaded rent increase notice, you're confronting an algorithmic system designed to synchronize pricing across your entire housing market. Pricing algorithms have created a dystopian housing reality where property managers deliberately keep apartments empty, valuing price integrity over filling units, transforming basic economic principles into a system of artificial scarcity. Traditionally, landlords understood a fundamental rule: vacant apartments bleed money. Empty units meant lost revenue, creating a natural market balance where prices would rise and fall with tenant demand. Algorithmic pricing has now shattered this age-old economic principle. But algorithmic pricing has completely rewritten these rules. In San Diego, where rents have skyrocketed by 21% since 2020 to $2,336 per month, significant numbers of apartments sit empty in the very same neighborhoods, experiencing these dramatic price hikes. A mathematical impossibility under traditional economic theory. Property managers are now prisoners of an algorithmic logic that prioritizes price perception over actual rental income. As one anonymous manager revealed, their pricing systems actively penalize attempts to lower rents, even when apartments remain empty, transforming basic economic principles into a mathematically driven pricing cage. This concept of price integrity drives decisions behind the scenes. The algorithms actively discourage lowering rents because doing so would impact pricing calculations across entire portfolios. In the algorithm's cold calculus, keeping a one-bedroom apartment empty at $2,200 is preferable to renting it for $2,000, because lowering the price would signal to the system that the market can't bear the higher rate, potentially triggering recommendations to lower prices across multiple properties. When an apartment sits vacant for weeks or months, traditional economics would suggest lowering the price. But the algorithm might recommend holding firm, calculating that long-term revenue protection outweighs short-term losses. This explains the puzzling phenomenon in many cities. Neighborhoods simultaneously experiencing housing shortages and significant numbers of vacant luxury units. The algorithms have broken the natural relationship between supply and demand, creating parallel housing realities where renters compete desperately while good apartments sit empty by algorithmic design. Department of Justice research found these practices have raised costs for renters by an average of $70 per month, totaling $3.8 billion in additional housing costs for Americans in 2023 alone. Studies confirm this distortion, showing areas with higher adoption of pricing algorithms consistently experience higher rents coupled with lower occupancy rates, a combination that defies traditional economics but maximizes profits under the new algorithmic regime. For renters, this means you're competing against an algorithmic system designed to maintain price levels even when actual demand doesn't support them. Your housing costs aren't just reflecting market realities. They reflect what algorithms have calculated will maximize revenues across entire portfolios, even if that means some units remain perpetually empty. The pushback against algorithmic rental pricing is gaining momentum. San Francisco made history as the first city to ban these pricing tools, with San Diego and Philadelphia quickly following suit. San Jose appears poised to join them next. These bans specifically target the technology, enabling landlords to coordinate pricing without explicitly colluding. Housing advocates aren't just demanding bans. They're calling for transparency. They argue renters deserve to know when algorithms determine their housing costs. Meanwhile, the Preventing Algorithmic Collusion Act aims to close technological loopholes in antitrust laws. For renters struggling with algorithmic-driven increases, knowledge truly is power. Understanding these invisible forces is the first step toward housing justice in the digital age. What steps might you take if algorithms are driving up your rent?